What's going on, my guys? Lost and Found Dating Channel, back at it again, like we never left, with another dating topic to get into, do some chatting with the fellas for this week. And before we get into this week's video, definitely want to make sure that you subscribe to the channel. That way you'll be in the know when we come out with new content each and every week. We've been dropping. First we started off with one video a week. Now we're upgrading to 2 videos a week, keeping that channel moving, keeping things flowing. So we appreciate all the support you guys have been giving us thus far. Without further ado, let's cut the introduction and let's get into this week's video. All right, my guys, so we have a golden ticket video for this week. I feel like every week I'm like, this is the most important video. This is this one's the most, this is the most important video. This video is definitely gonna be up there at the top of my list. One of my favorite topics, one that I'm very passionate about, and that is how to avoid overspending on dates, fellas. How do we avoid overspending? So that's what we're gonna talk about in this video. Now, throughout this video, I'm going to unpack the following analogy and kind of break it down and go into detail. But I'm gonna put the analogy or the simile, whatever, I forgot, grammar, that was in like 2nd grade. I don't know if it's a simile or analogy, but here's what it is. I want you to think of spending money on dates as if you were gambling at a casino. Talk to him. Talk to him. Now, as I mentioned, you want to treat spending money on dates as if you were gambling at a casino. Now, for my viewers out there, some of you have been to a casino, some of you haven't, some of you may be avid, experienced gamblers, some of you maybe are just amateurs, beginners, some of you may not even be of age in order to go to a casino, but you'll still understand the reference. What is is it 21 or 18? How old do you gotta be to go to the casino? 21? 21 to gamble? Some of you may be younger than that.
Could be 18.
But this still applies to you. Now, I will admit, being honest and transparent with you, you're not looking at someone who's an experienced, advanced gambler by any stretch of the imagination. But I've seen enough movies about casinos. I've been to some casinos. I've watched YouTube videos about casinos and gambling. And one of the most important lessons that I learned before even just going to casinos consistently, and it really helped me sort of understand the dynamic and how to be wise about gambling, is you never gamble with money that you're unwilling to lose, right? You never gamble with more money than what you're willing to lose at the end of the night. And essentially what that means is if you can't completely stomach the idea of losing that money, whether it's $100, whether it's $500, whether it's $1,000, if you can't completely, stomach the idea and take that L, if you can't just walk out of the casino losing that amount of money, and it's gonna strongly impact you in some sort of way, don't gamble that much. If you're gambling more than what you're willing to lose, more than what you're willing to walk away from, you're gambling too much. So if losing that money impacts your ability to pay your bills, to get to and from work, to support yourself, to support your family, you're raising kids or whatever the case may be, or support your loved ones if that's one of your priorities. If whatever amount that you're gambling, if losing it impacts your ability to do those things, that's how you know that you're gambling, an amount that's too much for you. Now again, I've told you guys this before, you're not looking at someone who gambles every week or, gambles every day. I could probably count on one hand the number of times I've been to a casino in the past several years. But what I do remember is the first couple of times I went to a casino, I always remembered somehow, some way, losing more money than I had anticipated I would lose, right? Losing more money than I had planned to lose before I walked into the casino. And again, I say, somehow, some way, because, it felt like it just happened within minutes, a couple minutes or some time goes by and you're like, where? I don't understand. I walked in here with $100, with $200. I don't understand where it all went that quickly, and you're just boggled. You don't understand how you lost that money in such a short span of time. And when I say lose money, I want you to understand it was never a ridiculous amount. Like for me, I'm frugal, so losing money for me was like 60, 80 bucks. No big deal. Some of you guys spend more than that on dates, so don't come at me for my gambling. 60, 80 bucks is not a big deal. I took the L, but whatever. Moving forward, I would lose 60 to 80 bucks. But here's what would happen. I would go in there with my wallet and I would say, all right, I'll get 20. I don't even do the table games, so I only did slot machines because I'm a weirdo like that. So I only did the slot machines and I'd put in $20, right? So $20, an hour goes by, I would lose that. Then I'd go back to the ATM, put in my card, take out another $20, then put that into the machine. Some time would go by, maybe I won $10. Oh, now that's a big win when you're playing the penny slots. Oh, I won $10, and then I'd lose that, and then I'd end up losing the other 20. And then I'd be like, you know what? I'm gonna get this last 20, I'm gonna withdraw it because I wanna try to win my money back. I don't wanna lose $40, so maybe if I take out another 20, I'll be able to make my $40 back, and then I'll go home a happy camper. And what would happen? I'd spend that, and of course, we know how the story goes, I would lose that, right? So now I would be down $60 and I would leave frustrated. And like, man, I just feel dumb. Like I could have used that 60 bucks towards a bill or towards something more productive than just gambling it away at a casino. And so like I told you guys, I'd lose, following that process, I would lose $60, $80, and I would always feel crummy at the end of the night, even though it wasn't a huge life-changing amount of money. But what I realized was at the end of the day, it wasn't so much about the $60 or the $80. What it came down to was I was frustrated because I went in there without a game plan. I went in there and I wasn't disciplined with my money, and I went in there and just haphazardly, started gambling money away. That was the part that frustrated me the most. It was the lack of discipline. It was the losing 20 bucks and then not just putting an end to it. It was going back and getting another $20 and getting another $20. That was the part that frustrated me the most, the lack of discipline, more than actually losing the money. So what I started to do was I said, okay, let's develop a game plan, right? Instead of going in there with my wallet and with my debit card, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take $20, $40, I'm gonna set a cap, right? I'm gonna set a limit at whatever I'm comfortable spending. Again, a limit based on what I'm willing to walk away from, what I can stomach as far as taking that L. I'm gonna set a cap, whether it's $20 or $40. I'm gonna walk into the casino with cash and I'm gonna gamble with that, and whatever happens with that money, win, lose, I'm not spending any more money than that. And when I started doing that, it was interesting because it was a lot more about the experience and having fun than it was about the, am I winning or losing money? Like sometimes what I would find is when I went in there with $20 or $40, instead of trying to spend it all or trying to win 100 or multiple hundreds of dollars by the end of the night, what I would do is, go in there with $40. Let's say after, an hour or two of gambling, I had 20 bucks left. Instead of just being like, well, I'm gonna try and see what I can do with that $20. Instead, I would leave and take my $20 and be like, cool, now I'll take that money and I'll go buy some food at the casino, or I'll spend it with my friends and do something fun, right? So now the experience becomes, it turns into something else. I was able to go to a casino, have fun, gamble, and I was able to get some food, spend time with my friends, and that was how I left the night, with an experience and having fun, instead of leaving the casino with the crummy mindset of, man, I lost money and I did it in an undisciplined manner. Now, if you notice in that story, there are really two key difference makers in the shift between my original mindset and then the mindset that I had, after I gathered some more experience and really thought about what I was doing. One is, as I mentioned, I developed a game plan, right? I went in there knowing how much I was willing to invest, knowing how much money I was willing to put out there. And for the technical people out there, I understand that gambling isn't investing, but I'm just saying I went out there knowing how much money I was willing to put into the night, how much money I was willing to put into gambling, and I had a game plan. And the reason why that's so important is because I want you to think about going on dates and spending money on dates the same way, right? You can plan an activity and it's great to do that, but you also want to have a game plan as far as knowing, okay, this is what I'm comfortable spending by the end of the night, by the end of this date. Because what I see some guys do is they plan an activity, okay, we're gonna go bowling, or we're gonna go play mini golf, or we're gonna go ice skating, and they plan that activity, but then other things, get tacked onto it. You wanna do something else by the end of the night, or you wanna add food, or you wanna throw drinks in there, right? And when you don't have a game plan, when you don't say, okay, I'm willing to spend $40 or $50 or $60, when you don't have that game plan, you're more likely and more willing to just kind of tack on things, because it's just like gambling. You're not really measuring or calculating how much money am I spending, right? You go from one activity to the next, you swipe your card, okay, now we're gonna go see a movie, I swipe my card, okay, now we gotta get food and snacks for the movie, I swipe my card, okay, now maybe we get drinks afterwards, you swipe, and then by the end of the night, you've spent $100 and $150, right? So just like I did, where I started to develop a game plan as far as going into the casino, develop that same game plan when it comes to going into your dates of what you're willing to spend. And if you need to, hey, it may even mean that you discipline yourself so much that you leave your credit card at home, right? Maybe you bring your wallet, your driver's license, all those different things, and you just bring cash with you, so that at the end of the day, worst comes to worst, you physically can't spend more money than whatever you bring with you. And like I said, that's what I did when I went to the casino, and I have discipline. It's not like if I went in with my card, I couldn't prevent myself from using it. But just as kind of an added layer, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna leave my card, I'll bring my driver's license, but I'm just gonna bring cash with me, dollar bills with me, and then spend that, and that'll be the end of it. So again, going backwards, key difference maker number one is you wanna go into it with a game plan. Go into the date with a game plan of here's what I wanna do, and here's what I'm comfortable spending on that date. And while I'm on that topic, if you guys want some ideas for creative and inexpensive, unique and inexpensive date topics, click that button above, and we've got some great ideas for things that you could do where you'll spend $20, $25, $30, $40. You know, there's some good variety of different date options out there. So getting back to it. So difference maker number one was making sure that you go into the date with a game plan, right? Difference maker number two was how I started to frame my mindset when it came to gambling and when it came to going to casinos. And I'll be honest with you guys, the first couple of times that I went to a casino, you know, you see all the games and the lights and all the different sounds, and the allure, there's an allure to that. There's an allure, if that's a word. There's an appeal to it, and you walk into the casino. If it's your first time, I guarantee you anyone's first time who's been to a casino, and you can vouch for me on this, one of the things that you're thinking about is the idea of winning like a life-changing amount of money, right? It at least crosses your mind where you're like, man, you know, I'm in a place where I can take, you know, $20, $40 and I could win multiple hundreds of dollars and multiple thousands of dollars, right? There's no limit when it comes to the amount of money that you can win. Or I guess there is a limit, but you know what I mean.
Sally right next to you winning, and you see her, she
right. You sit next to this lady, you know, and she's just, you know, poking the buttons and she wins. I think I remember sitting next to someone and they won like $13,000, you know, playing some machine. I was like, man, that's crazy. But, you know, there's people who literally sit there in the casino for multiple hours at a time. They plan their entire vacation around going to casino. That wasn't what I was trying to do. You know, for me, it was a fun, you know, thing to do, you know, in my spare time once every couple of weeks. But the point is, you know, when you go into casino and your mindset is, you know, wow, I can win hundreds or thousands of dollars, you're at least for me, I was more willing to spend a lot of money. I was more willing to kind of spend more than I should, because in the back of my head, there was always that what if factor, right? What if maybe I spend $60 and with this last 20, I win $1,000, right? So there was no sort of, there was no restraint or inhibition as far as not spending money, because there's always that what if I win big, you know, what if I hit the jackpot and then all the money that I spent is worth it. So you take that mindset and you apply the same thing to dating, right? A lot of times guys will go into the date, you know, comfortably spending $100, $100+, multiple hundreds of dollars, because there's that what if factor. You know, what if this is the one for me? What if, you know, she's the one and she's the person that I'm supposed to spend the rest of my life with? You know, what if this ends up being my future girlfriend or ends up being my future wife? Or it can even just be what if the idea of the night leading towards sex. Maybe that's your you know, jackpot or your lottery, and that's what is the big win for you as far as the date goes, you know. So sometimes when you look at a date is, you know, this could be the one, and you have these high expectations, just like with gambling, when you set your expectations excessively high, you don't have a break system as far as, you know, I need to stop investing once I get to this point. You don't have anything to sort of keep you in line and say, okay, I'm willing to go this far as spending money, but not anything beyond that, right? So when you have these high expectations and you think, you know, this could be the one, or you know, maybe she'll like me enough and she'll want to go back to my place, whatever the case may be, when you look at a date as that's the outcome that, you know, I'm trying to achieve. I find that a lot of guys are more than willing to spend beyond their budget. Whereas if you look at a date as I'm going, you know, to meet this person and just learn about them, see what they bring to the table, you know, we can be honest, guys. Yes, you know, you may be thinking, wow, this woman is very attractive, she's beautiful, you know, I'm very physically attracted to her, but you can still, you know, not go above and beyond with your expectations. You can go into it understanding that you may not like this woman by the end of the date. You may not have chemistry with her, you know, as the date progresses. You may never want to see her ever again, right? Those are possibilities when it comes to the date. So it's better to go in with kind of conservative expectations and not be thinking about that what if factor or that jackpot factor, so that you're not overspending and investing more than what you know you should. Woo! So always remember, guys, if you're going on a date and you're spending money, remember what you're spending money on, right? I try to think of it as you're spending money to facilitate the activity or facilitate the experience with a woman, but you're not spending money on the woman liking you, right? What you're buying dinner, or you're buying a movie, or you're buying tickets, or you're buying an entrance fee to do whatever. That's what you're buying. You're not buying this woman liking you. You're not buying this woman responding to you favorably. So when you understand in your head what you're buying and what your money is going towards, that will help your philosophy when it comes to dating, because you realize you become less entitled, and you understand that the money that you're spending isn't to get this woman to like me. Because for some guys, if they feel like they're purchasing the woman liking them, as I said, if they feel like they're purchasing the woman liking them, or wanting to go on dates with them, or wanting to sleep with them, if that's what you feel like you're purchasing, for some guys out there, sky's the limit. They're willing to spend whatever because they think that, you know, spending money means this outcome. But understand, you're not buying an outcome. You're not buying the woman liking you or wanting to go on dates with you. All that you're buying is really the ability to facilitate the experience, whatever it is that you're doing to plan the date, whatever activity you've planned, that's what you're buying. And you're creating a mutually fulfilling, hopefully a mutually fulfilling experience for the two of you, but you're not buying an outcome, right? Keep that in mind, guys, right? And comparing the two together, when you go into a casino with the expectation that you're gonna win the jackpot, it's just like going into a date thinking paying a lot of money means that the woman is gonna like you, right? It leads to the same outcome. You end up spending more than what you should, and you usually end up, you know, feeling kind of disappointed and crummy by the end of the night, because you realize, you know, maybe you should have humbled your expectations a little bit. So my biggest recommendation, guys, go into the date with a game plan as far as how much you're comfortable spending, and go into it with reasonable expectations, right? Let's say you decide, you know, your personal budget is $40 for the date, which I think is totally reasonable. If you're watching this video and let's say you're a woman and you're like, oh, that's cheap, whatever. $40 is more than reasonable for a first date. So here's what that means. If your amount is $40, that means when you spend that $40 on that date, if you never hear from the woman again and she totally ghosts you at the end of the night, from a financial standpoint, you should be okay with taking that L. You should be okay with that loss. That's what it means, right? Just like gambling, if $40 is your cap, that's your maximum, you should be emotionally removed from that $40, right? When you're dating, you're using your disposable income. That means literally money you could throw away or it could fall out of your pocket. You could dispose of it and it wouldn't impact you emotionally, right? So whatever your amount is, that's the amount that you're sticking to. And in your head, I want you to understand, if we go on this date and at the end of the night we part ways and she ignores my texts, she blocks me, if she decides that she, you know, was so disappointed with the date that she's gonna change her number, she's gonna go under the witness protection program, she's gonna get plastic surgery on her face, she's gonna change her address, she's gonna dye her hair, she's gonna do all those things just to avoid having to see you again. If your cap is $40, her doing those things should be totally okay with you. You should be like, hey, it is what it is, you know, take that L. You know, whatever she does, it shouldn't impact you emotionally at that point, all right? So that's what I want you guys to grasp and understand. Regardless of what she does, hey, she goes to you, deletes your number, whatever, $40, it shouldn't impact you emotionally. So again, that's your amount. It shouldn't impact you emotionally and it shouldn't impact you financially. That means you don't have to pick up an extra shift at work. You don't have to stay late. You don't have to come in early. You don't have to, you've been good with not using your credit card and paying down your credit card balance. You don't have to start using your card again because you're dating now, right? Again, it's disposable income. That means it shouldn't be impacting your financial situation. You shouldn't have to adapt and adjust your life based on the amount of money that you're spending as far as dating. If you are, that's a red flag. That's something that you need to look into and make some modifications with your game plan and with your expectations. So, wrapping things up, bringing things home, guys. Hope you got some good nuggets from this video. I know there were kind of some long-winded strands where I was just kind of talking freely, but hope you guys were able to get some pieces of wisdom from that. And you know, my slogan, one of the things that I have started saying and have started posting on social media is date with your watch, not your wallet. Meaning when you're dating, the focus should be on your time and the quality time that you're investing into the person, not with how much money you're spending in it. And I've talked about that before. You could spend a lot of money and the date's horrible, or you could spend no money and have a great date. You know, it's about the time and the chemistry that the two of you have with each other. So date with your watch, not your wallet, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. If not, you know, just because it made you laugh and gave you a good chuckle. Wrapping things up, Lost and Found Dating channel. Be sure to like us, comment on the video, subscribe to the channel. That way you'll be the first to know when we come out with new content. Double salute, wipe me down, and I'm out.
Wait. Guys, he said witness protection program. Who the hell we dating?
Imagine she's like, man, that date was so bad, I gotta move.
She put herself into witness protection.
She's like, I don't even want to be within 1,000 kilometers of that guy.
Oh boy.
Oh man.